Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful day. So I was going to do this video live, but then you have to get authorized through YouTube for 24 hours notice, so I didn't do that. But I am going to I'm doing this just once to to do my best to be my most authentic self. And I say do my best, but really just to bring myself to the table. Because sometimes when making these videos, I put a little too much pressure on myself about how they're supposed to look or the way I'm supposed to sound or seem. And that's not authentic to who I am. And that doesn't feel good to me. And while making these videos kind of ad hoc and just whenever the inspiration dings in my mind, is a little scary, embracing that discomfort in that way is far more it just feels so much more authentic to me, and it feels so much better to be able to show up in that way. And so that's just kind of what I'm doing. But so there's this quote by Patanjali, who wrote the Yoga Sutras over 2,000 years ago, that I'd like to share with you. And if you're familiar with Wayne Dyer's work, then you will have probably heard this quote before, because he would reference it a lot. And so I'm going to read it really quickly, and then I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about it. So it's about inspiration and living an inspired life. And the quote goes, "When you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction. And you find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be." And I mean, like I said, I just love this quote, and it's so beautiful. And for me, what this quote really touches into is that when you're tuning in and when you're relaxing into the flow of the universe, then everything that you come into contact, it's like riding this like wave where everything you come into contact with is just exactly as it's supposed to be, exactly what you needed to get through the next stage in your life. And I like that it talks about how, all your thoughts break their bonds and your mind transcends limitations. And to me, this is like, you stop worrying and thinking so much about the way things need to be or need to look, and you just are. And you are able to move to a different level within yourself that you maybe would have not ever been able to do before. Now, I think that this quote and the idea of living out some great purpose or an inspired life brings up some tensions within us, because some of us don't know what we want to do. We don't even know maybe what we want to like eat for lunch, or what we want to wear. Like, how are we going to want to know what this great purpose is? And I think that's putting too much pressure on the idea of our purpose. I was actually, this topic came up a lot this week for me, and that's part of what really inspired me to even make this video. But I think that when we're inspired, when we're tuning in, when we're listening to our intuition, when we're going within and going with the flow, then that inspiration, that great purpose can really be as simple as, even my brother said it last night so beautifully, as simple as just being, as just being in the moment, being where you are, existing in where you are, meeting yourself where you are. I mean, this great purpose can also be, as one of my friends said, being creative, and just listening to the little things of what brings you joy and following that. It could be, reading books that you maybe were never going to read before, and you all of a sudden are inspired to read these books, and your mind stops getting in the way and stops saying, no, I don't have time for that. And you just sit down and read the books, and you're inspired to read them. And I mean, the great purpose could be healing. It could be willing and having the courage to go within and battle your own shadow and deal with your own pains and past traumas and really work on healing. I mean, those are all things that you listen to your own inspiration, you listen to your own intuition, and they guide you to what it is that you do next. I mean, it could be going on a walk in the forest and just being in the wilderness and being with the little creatures and the trees and the plants. I don't think it has to be this, I mean, it's extraordinary because you did it out of intuition. You did it out of the feeling of inspiration. You did it out of your drive and your desire from your heart and your own being to go and do this. And so, but it doesn't have to be this, like, you don't have to, like, whatever choice it is doesn't have to change the entire world in one fell swoop. You know, it could be simply something as just being where you are. And that's so beautiful. And so I just, I think that a friend of mine, you know, and I were talking about it a little bit on Instagram. And I just think that we do put too much pressure on the purpose. And we put too much pressure on even children in schools that, you know, once they're in, my children, you know, they're both in middle school. My daughter will be going to high school soon. It's wild, I know. But when they were in middle school, they're automatically asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so we put so much pressure on this, like, well, what do you want to be? What do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? And we put so much pressure on that, like, end result, that way over there. Where are we going? Where are we going to get to? Instead of really focusing on, like, it's okay to not even know that yet. It's okay to have no idea what that is, and to simply just be here in the moment, listening to your intuition, going with the flow, relaxing into what is, allowing yourself to heal, allowing yourself to feel fully. I mean, and then when you, because you're doing that, because you're listening to your intuition, because you're following your own inner guidance, because you're maybe relaxing and having a little more fun because you're not putting so much pressure on yourself, then you actually find this, like, thing that you really want to do because it brings you so much passion and so much joy, and probably very likely is a way of serving humanity. I mean, that's very possible. And so when we stop putting so much pressure on it, and we maybe invite our purpose to be exactly where we are at that moment when we're tuned in our intuition, then that's just enough, right? And then the other thing is, I think that we have multiple purposes. You know, when you're inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project. I mean, it's just one project. You could be working on a painting, you know, I mean, it's just one moment. It's one space in your life. You could be working on a poem, or you could be journaling, or writing, you know, a music piece, or even drawing on the sidewalk with chalk. I mean, those are all extraordinary projects and momentary, their purposes. And I think we take up many in our lives, and we should be more willing to take it step by step, bit by bit, instead of thinking that we have to have it all figured out and know everything that we're doing, because that's not the way it works. And I'm certain that we've all heard the saying, you know, it's the journey. It's not about the destination. It really is about the journey. It's about every step along the way. And so I invite you to this week to just relax a little bit into whatever it is that you're doing, and maybe invite yourself to just simply be where you are. Maybe finding grace and gratitude in the moment in which you are in, and finding it within yourself to just relax a little into your own intuition, into your own flow, so that you can really, really feel that you're exactly where you need to be, and that being here is simply enough. And then when we do that, when we do this, and we keep practicing and keep relaxing and going with the flow and feeling into it, then we really do find that our heart expands, and we are filled with more love, and we're filled with more joy, and we're filled with more happiness, because we're listening and we're doing what we're guided to do. And then we find that we really are, by far, a much greater person than we ever thought we could be. And so, my friends, I love you all. I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you feel inspired simply by being in the moment or with whatever task you're doing, even if it's doing the dishes. I love you. I'll see you soon. From my heart to yours. Namaste.